The black waitress had spent years working double shifts at a small diner, earning just enough to get by. But she never let exhaustion dull her kindness. So when she saw a frail boy in a wheelchair shivering in the rain outside, she didn't hesitate. She brought him inside, gave him food, and made him feel safe. Across the street, a billionaire was watching their every move. That billionaire was the boy's father, and her simple act of kindness was about to open doors she never imagined. Rain poured down in relentless sheets, drumming against the cracked pavement of Lexington Avenue. Streetlights flickered weakly over worn-down buildings. It was past 11, and the diner was supposed to be closing, but Serena Carter never turned people away, especially not when the world had already done enough to knock them down. She was wiping down the counter, her chestnut skin damp with sweat after a grueling 12-hour shift, when she noticed the boy outside. He was hunched in a battered wheelchair, soaked to the bone, dark hair plastered to his forehead, and a tattered coat doing little against the cold. He was just beyond the diner's neon sign, clutching a frayed blanket. Serena frowned, set her rag down, and pushed open the door. Wind cut into her skin. Hey, sweetie," she said, crouching beside him. "What are you doing out here all alone?" The boy flinched, then looked up. His blue eyes were wide and searching. "I'm waiting for my dad," he said, voice barely louder than the rain. Serena glanced up and down the empty street. No one. Just the dim glow of a pawn shop sign across the road and the hiss of tires on wet asphalt. "Where is he?" she asked gently. The boy shrugged, pulling the blanket tighter. "You can't stay out here," she said, offering a soft smile. "Not in this mess. Come inside with me, okay? It's warm. I've got something special for you." He hesitated, then nodded. Serena took the handles of the wheelchair and pushed him inside. The warmth of the diner wrapped around them immediately, along with the scent of buttered toast and burnt coffee. She led him to a booth by the radiator, draped a towel over his shoulders, and crouched beside him again. "I'm Serena," she said. "What's your name, sweetheart?" The boy sniffled, clutching the blanket. "Daniel. Daniel. That's a strong name. You hungry?" He nodded. She didn't wait for more. In the kitchen, she sliced a fresh loaf of sourdough and grilled it to perfection. Minutes later, she set a plate before him. A golden grilled cheese sandwich and a bowl of tomato soup, her grandmother's comfort meal. "This one's on me," she said, tucking a napkin into his lap. Daniel's eyes lit up as he took a bite. "This is the best thing I've ever had." Serena laughed. Good food makes everything better. But inside, she felt that old ache, seeing a child already carrying the world on his shoulders. What she didn't know was that someone had been watching. Across the street, in a sleek black Bentley, Raymond Holt sat still, his sharp gray eyes locked on the scene. At 46, Raymond had built an empire, Holt Dynamics, the heart of Baltimore's tech industry. Billion-dollar machine, run on precision, control, and a total rejection of sentiment. And yet, here he was, watching a waitress feed his son. Raymond's jaw tightened. He had been delayed, a call with Japanese investors. He'd told Daniel to wait just a few minutes. He hadn't expected this. He reached for his phone. "Nora," he said, once his assistant picked up. "Get down to Lexington Diner. No suits, no heels. 20 minutes. "Sir?" "Find out everything you can about the woman who just fed my son." Then he hung up. Inside the diner, Daniel was laughing, really laughing, for the first time all night. Soup stains on his chin. Serena wiped them away, shaking her head. "Messy. Eater, huh?" Across the street, Raymond's expression didn't change. He didn't believe in kindness. He believed in debts, and Serena Carter had just earned one. Serena wiped her hands on her apron and glanced at the rain-streaked window. Daniel was finishing the last bite of his sandwich, fingers no longer trembling. His face was softer now. She felt a small swell of satisfaction. One more person, one more moment of kindness. That was enough. Then the door opened. Cold air rushed in ahead of a woman in jeans and a hoodie, blonde hair tucked under a faded Orioles cap. She didn't belong, not because of how she dressed, but because of how she carried herself, sharp, controlled, like someone who didn't come for the coffee. Her eyes found Daniel immediately. She crouched beside him. "Hey, champ, time to go," she said, smooth and easy. Too smooth. Daniel frowned, wiping his mouth with the napkin. "But I haven't finished my milk. You can take it with you. Your ride's waiting." Serena's instincts fired. She'd seen too many people erased with a smile. She folded her arms, watching closely. "You know him?" The woman smiled, but something shifted. "Yeah, I'm his aunt." Serena didn't blink. She turned to Daniel. "That true, sweetheart?" Daniel hesitated. Just long enough. Serena knew that kind of hesitation. She grew up around it, knew the fear behind it. She crouched beside him again, softer this time. "You good, baby? You want to go with her?" Daniel looked between them. His small hands gripped the napkin. "She's here for my dad," he said. "I guess I have to." Serena didn't argue. A black woman pressing too hard, asking too many questions. It never ended well. Still, she wouldn't send him away with nothing. She went to the counter, grabbed a cookie and wrapped it in wax paper. "For the road," she said, pressing it into Daniel's hand. He beamed. "Thanks, Serena. You're the best." She smiled, but her chest tightened. She watched as the woman wheeled him toward the door. Just before stepping out, the woman looked back, didn't speak, just looked. Serena knew what it was, a warning. Across the street, the Bentley's headlights flashed. The woman approached, and the rear door opened. Raymond stepped out, framed in the glow of the diner's neon sign. Once Daniel was buckled in the back, he turned to her. "Well?" "She's sharp," the woman admitted. "Didn't buy the aunt story. Almost called me out." Raymond didn't react. "But she let him go," the woman added. "She didn't have a choice," she said. "You know how it is. A black woman makes a scene. She's the one who ends up in trouble, not me." He twitched but said nothing. Nora folded her arms. She's not like the others. Raymond already knew that. He'd seen it the moment Serena stepped into the rain without hesitation, the way she'd spoken to Daniel like he mattered, not like he was some inconvenience. Raymond had watched people bend, flatter, manipulate for his money, but she hadn't even known Daniel was his son, and she'd helped anyway. That made her dangerous. He opened the car door and slid inside, voice low. "I want everything on her. Name, address, background." He fastened his seatbelt, eyes fixed on the windshield. "On my desk, by morning." Nora hesitated, just a beat too long. "Sir, by morning." She exhaled, then nodded. "Understood." The Bentley pulled from the curb. The diner shrank in the rearview mirror, but Raymond wasn't thinking about city lights or traffic. He was thinking about Serena Carter and the debt he owed her. Serena trudged home, sneakers soaked from the rain, the cold sinking deep into her bones. The diner's meager tip sat light in her pocket, barely enough for rent, let alone food. But Daniel's grin lingered in her mind, warming something that had gone cold long ago. Still, something itched in her gut. That woman's polished smile. The way Daniel hesitated before he spoke. That wasn't just some stranger picking up a lost kid. That was someone who knew exactly what they were doing. She climbed the stairs to her tiny apartment on West Fayette Street, where the radiator rattled more than it worked, and she could hear the neighbor's TV blaring 3 doors down. The moment she shut the door, she leaned against it and rubbed her face. She'd learned not to get involved, but this felt different. Then came the knock. Serena froze. No one visited at this hour. She peered through the peephole, and her stomach dropped. A man stood on the other side, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a coat that cost more than her rent. His face was sharp, eyes gray and unreadable. He looked like he'd already dissected her before she even opened the door. She didn't open it. "Who is it?" A pause, then a voice. Deep, controlled, too controlled. "Raymond Holt." The name meant nothing. "What do you want?" Another pause. "To talk." Her gut screamed no, but curiosity edged it out. Slowly, she unlatched the door and opened it just wide enough to see him clearly. He didn't belong in her building, in this part of the city, in her world. "I don't know you," she said. His face didn't move. "No. But you know my son." Her pulse jumped. She stared at him, the way he filled her doorway, the way his coat dripped rain but his shoes were spotless. "Daniel," she said, slowly. "You're his father?" His nod was small, almost reluctant. "I was across the street last night." The cold in her bones sharpened. "You were watching?" "I was." Serena exhaled sharply through her nose. "So what? You here to complain I fed your kid?" "No." His gaze didn't waver. "I don't believe in charity, but I do believe in paying debts." Without waiting for her to respond, he pulled an envelope from his coat and placed it on her battered kitchen table. She didn't move. She glanced at it. Thick, expensive, heavy paper. The kind you only use when what's inside has weight. "What is that?" "A job offer." Her brain short-circuited. She blinked up at him. "A what?" "A job. At Holt Dynamics. 6 figures. Benefits. The works." Serena laughed, sharp and disbelieving. "You think I want to work for some rich white man who thinks handing me a check makes us even?" Raymond didn't flinch. "I don't think you want charity, Serena. That's why I'm not offering it." The sound of her name in his mouth made something shift in her chest. "You don't even know me." "I know enough." His voice was calm, final. "You gave my son food. You didn't treat him like he was nothing." "That's rare." Serena swallowed hard. His words hit deeper than they should have. She looked at the envelope again, its weight suddenly oppressive. "And what would I be doing at Holt Dynamics? Making coffee?" His mouth twitched with the ghost of a smile. "No, you'd be working directly with me. Negotiations, public relations. You're good with people. I need that." Serena snorted. "You've got a whole building full of Ivy League robots who'd kill for a job like that." He looked at her. "Exactly. That's why I don't trust them." Silence stretched out. The weight of his offer settled around her shoulders, pressing against her pride, her exhaustion, her refusal to be bought. But 6 figures. 6 figures meant no more scrambling, no more skipping meals. No more stretching $20 like it was magic. Her mother's voice echoed in her head. "Never owe people like that anything, baby. They don't give without taking." Her jaw clenched. "Why me?" Raymond held her gaze, and for the first time something shifted in his eyes. "Because you saw my son. Not my money. Not my name. Him." Her throat tightened. She looked at the envelope one last time, then slowly picked it up. "I'll think about it," she murmured. Raymond studied her, nodded once. "Good." He turned and walked out without another word. The door clicked shut behind him. Serena stood there, the envelope heavy in her hands. Too heavy. Because she already knew she wasn't just thinking about it. She was going to say yes. Her first day at Holt Dynamics felt like stepping into another universe. Everything gleamed too brightly. The air was too cold, too clean. Money hung in the walls like cologne. She walked through the lobby in a department store blazer and thrifted heels, every eye tracking her like a laser. Not curiosity, calculation, judgment. She didn't flinch. She'd worked in enough places where people underestimated her. She knew how to survive that. Raymond waited in his office. It was absurd. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a desk that looked more like sculpture than furniture. He didn't look up when she walked in. "You're late." She raised an eyebrow and sat down. "By 2 minutes." He finally looked at her. "That's 2 minutes I don't get back." She shook her head, exhaling. "You want me here or not?" He leaned back, studying her. "That remains to be seen." Before she could retort, the glass door opened. Nora stepped in, tablet in hand, expression cool. Her eyes flicked over Serena in a single glance, measuring, judging. "Miss Carter," she said smoothly, "welcome to Holt Dynamics." Serena smiled, slow, pointed. "Oh, we're doing last names. Good to see you again, Miss Winters." Something flickered in Nora's face, just for a second. Then she turned to Raymond. "I've prepared the reports for the upcoming Orion negotiations." She handed him the tablet without looking at Serena again. "Would you like me to brief her on company protocols?" Raymond didn't look up. "No, I will." Serena wasn't sure if that was a good thing or a threat. Nora nodded but paused at the door, just for a second. "Good luck," she said, without turning around. It didn't sound like encouragement. It sounded like a warning. Serena barely had time to process before Raymond dropped a file in front of her. "No small talk?" she muttered. "Orion Group," he said. "They want to push a contract that cuts labor costs by outsourcing jobs overseas. That means layoffs. Thousands." Serena skimmed the file, her stomach turning. "And you want me to what?" "Convince them not to," Raymond said, his gaze steady. "I want you to do what you do best. Our people." Serena sat back, arms crossed. "So, let me get this straight. You brought me in because you think I can, what? Charm my way into getting these billionaires to grow a conscience?" "No," Raymond said without blinking. "I brought you in because I think you understand something." "They don't." She narrowed her eyes. "And what's that?" He leaned forward slightly. "That people who have nothing to lose fight the hardest." The words hit somewhere deep in her chest, something unspoken but true. She stared at him for a long moment, then shook her head. "You talk in riddles a lot for someone who runs a tech empire." The corner of his mouth twitched, almost a smile. But it passed. "Meeting's at noon," he said, standing. "Try not to be late." Serena rolled her eyes but didn't argue. She had a job to do. The conference room was colder than the rest of the building, steel and glass, designed to make people feel small. Serena sat beside Raymond at the long mahogany table, facing 3 men in tailored suits, each one oozing the kind of confidence that came from knowing they could buy and sell entire lives with a signature. Philip Langford led the group. 60. White hair slicked back, arrogance carved into every line on his face. He barely glanced at her. Raymond opened. "You want to move production to Taiwan. You say it'll save costs, increase efficiency." He paused. "I say it'll destroy a workforce that's built this company's infrastructure for over a decade." Langford smiled, thin-lipped. "You misunderstand, Raymond. It's not personal. It's just business." Serena's fingers curled under the table. Not personal. She'd heard that before. When her landlord raised rent overnight because developers wanted the neighborhood. When her mom lost her job at the textile plant because of cheaper labor overseas. When companies like this destroyed communities and called it strategy. She smiled, steel in her tone. "Funny. It's always just business until it's your job on the line." Langford looked at her for the first time. "And you are Serena Carter, Holt Dynamics." He gave her a once-over, then dismissed her with his eyes. She didn't care. She was used to being underestimated. Langford leaned back. Look, sweetheart, I get it. You think we're the villains here. But this is about numbers. It's about what makes the most sense. Sweetheart. Serena's jaw locked. She leaned in, voice cool. Let's talk numbers then. She slid a document across the table. Here's what happens when you offshore production. Sure, you cut costs. At first, but in 3 years, when labor demands rise, your new hub gets expensive. You'll spend millions restructuring, rehiring, handling PR disasters, when the headlines read, American workers betrayed for profit. She tapped the paper. That's not a guess. That's market analysis. Langford glanced at it but didn't touch it. Serena stared him down. You can make the smart choice now. Or explain to your investors why your short-term gains just cost them their long-term returns. Silence. Then Langford exhaled, picked up the paper, scanned it. Raymond didn't smile, but Serena felt the shift. The game had changed. Langford set the document down, expression unreadable. We'll revisit the proposal. See that you do, Raymond said. The meeting ended soon after. As Langford and his associates left, Serena felt Raymond's eyes on her. She turned. Well? I knew I hired you for a reason. Damn right you did. And for the first time since walking into Holt Dynamics, Serena felt like she belonged. 2 months in, she had found her rhythm. She'd learned how to stand her ground in rooms that barely acknowledged her presence. She'd faced down Philip Langford and walked away with her pride intact. She had proved to Raymond and to herself that she wasn't a token hire. She was here because she earned it. But wins at the top were fleeting, because now the company was in trouble, and someone had just set her up to take the fall. She'd just returned from a client meeting when Nora caught her in the hallway. We have a problem, Nora said, voice tight. Serena frowned. Define problem. Nora handed her a printed email. Serena's stomach dropped. It was a company report, classified financial data, leaked to the press. The forwarding email had her name on it. The air shifted. Heavy. Dense. This isn't mine, Serena said. I know, Nora replied, but someone wants it to be. Serena's pulse thundered. She knew how fast this could spiral. A black woman in a white corporate space didn't get the benefit of the doubt. She was guilty the moment someone said she was. She scanned the email again. Who else has seen this? Raymond and the board. Her breath hitched. The board. She had clawed her way into Holt Dynamics, and now they were about to rip her out. Raymond's office was colder than usual. Or maybe it was just the way he looked at her. Hands clasped, eyes sharp, unreadable. Tell me I wasn't wrong, he said. Serena slammed the email on his desk. This isn't me. He didn't even look at it. I want to believe that. But this is serious. Millions in exposure, investigations, stock drops. You understand how bad this is. I understand perfectly. I also understand that whoever did this picked the easiest target, the outsider, the black woman with too much confidence. Who's going to believe me over a 10-year exec? He didn't flinch, but he didn't argue either. Do you think I did this? He met her eyes. No. She exhaled, relief. But then he added, the board does, Serena swore, pacing. So what now? Raymond sighed. We find the real leak. Serena froze. We? Not you. Not me. We. For the first time since she walked in, the ice in her chest cracked. Raymond stood, slipping on his jacket. Nora's already tracing the source. Whoever did this, routed it through an external server, covered their tracks well. We'll have to be smarter. And if we don't find them in time? Serena asked. What if the board cuts me loose? Raymond's jaw tightened. Then we make them regret it. She studied him. Raymond Holt didn't make promises. But she believed him, and whoever framed her, they were about to regret it. The truth unraveled faster than expected. Serena and Nora pulled all-nighters, combing through digital traces. The leak had been clever. But not perfect. It led to Eric Calloway, a senior exec with a spotless record and a nasty habit of letting others take the fall. By morning, they had the evidence. Serena didn't wait to be summoned. She stormed into the boardroom, folder in hand. The air inside was thick, judgment already cast. Raymond sat at the head. Still. Watchful. "I assume you know why you're here," one of the board members said, gesturing to the empty chair. Serena didn't sit. "I do. And I assume you know you're about to make a very expensive mistake." The board member opened his mouth, but she cut him off. "I was the easy target. The outsider. The one you thought you could pin this on quietly." She dropped the folder on the table. "Except you picked the wrong one." They skimmed the pages. Faces shifted from smug to alarmed. Eric Calloway, 2 seats away, turned pale. Traced emails, bank transfers, calls to reporters, all linked to Calloway, not me. And yes, legal has copies. So does the press. So if you're thinking damage... "Control, I'd start now," Calloway shot to his feet. "She's bluffing." Serena looked at Raymond. "Am I?" He stood. "No, she's not." The words hit like a blade. Raymond adjusted his cuffs. "Effective immediately, Eric Calloway is terminated. Legal action will follow." He looked at the room. "Let this serve as a warning." Silence followed. Serena didn't smile. She didn't need to. She had won. 2 weeks later, she stood beside Raymond at Daniel's graduation. The boy grinned up at her from his wheelchair, holding his diploma like it was gold. "Told you I'd make it," he said. Serena laughed, ruffling his hair. "Never doubted you." Raymond watched them, something softer in his expression. "You did good, Carter," she smirked. "Damn right I did." Daniel looked between them. "Are you guys going to hug or something?" Raymond sighed. "Absolutely not." Serena rolled her eyes. "God, no." Daniel just grinned. For the first time in a long time, Serena felt like she'd built something real, something that mattered, and she wasn't done yet. Years later, Serena Carter sat in the executive office of Holt Dynamics, her name engraved on the door. Vice President of Corporate Strategy. What started as a challenge had become a mission. Under her leadership, the company restructured its labor practices, launched mentorships, and partnered with minority-owned businesses. A new community center bore the name Carter Holt Foundation, focused on education and opportunity. At the ribbon cutting, Daniel, now a college freshman, stood proudly beside her. A full circle, kindness, integrity, strategy. It paid off in ways spreadsheets never could.